Today we are going to begin our day with an interactive read aloud. But before we read, I want to set our purpose for reading. And so our essential question today, what we're listening and looking for as I read to you, is how do sharks use their structures, internal and external, to survive in their environment? Before we read today, we need to go over some vocabulary words that are in the text that you may not be familiar with. The first word I want to introduce to you is an apex predator. Any predictions about what an apex predator is?
Like a shark or a bear that's like really strong, like a very high predator on the food chain.
Very good. The definition of an apex predator is an alpha predator, a predator who is at the top of the food chain. You are exactly right. Yes, ma'am.
Isn't a lion at the top of a food chain?
I would say that we could consider a lion an apex predator as well. A sentence example for you, the great white shark is an apex predator. And then how it's used in the text is every white shark is an apex predator, meaning an animal at the very top of the food chain. Our text today is Neighborhood Sharks Hunting with the Great Whites of California's Farallon Islands by Catherine Roy. Does this text look familiar to anyone? Yeah.
From the elephant one?
Yes, you're exactly right. The How to Be an Elephant is written by the same author, and the text structure is also the same. Good recall. I'll read the text to you, then I'll show you pictures. Every September, the great white shark returns to San Francisco. Their hunting grounds in the Farallon Islands are just 30 miles from the city. While their 800,000 human neighbors dine on steak, salad, and sandwiches, the white sharks hunt for their favorite meal. White sharks are also covered in tiny scales called dermal denticles. Not only do these backward-pointing skin teeth literally cut through water, they also serve as camouflage. A white shark's dark back and ghostly belly disappear against the Farallon reefs. How does the shark's skin help it to thrive and survive in its environment? Matthew, you mentioned
skin. Text that it was camouflage. There's a really good camouflage in the reefs. So
describing it as like camouflage, what does that let you know?
If a seal, if it tries to go past, it won't see it won't see the great white shark, and the great white shark may go backward and will go behind the seal.
So the shark's skin is going to do what in the water?
Make sure the prey doesn't see it, so it can have a sneak attack.
What did you say?
Blend.
It's going to blend in. Very good. Good job. This web acts as a heat exchange system. The movement of the shark's muscles warms its blood, so the ever-swimming shark increases its body temperature just by moving. With a resulting body temperature about 20 degrees Fahrenheit above the surrounding water, a white shark functions as a warm-blooded fish. The extra heat speeds up digestion and makes its reflexes lightning fast, enabling it to catch and eat its warm-blooded pinniped prey. A warmer brain and warmer eyes also give the shark its third weapon.
Its tail. Or dorsal fin.
They're good predictions.
What is that?
So this diagram is the internal structure of the shark's body. Who can explain to me, how does the white shark's bloodstream, or the internal structure that you see here, how does it allow it to thrive and survive in the cold temperatures of the ocean? Kara?
It's warm. The brain is warm, and it keeps it warm.
Okay, these internal structures, what do they do? Because the ocean water is cold. What do they do for the shark?
They keep it warm.
produce heat?
Okay, they regulate the, what do they have to regulate for the shark?
Heat. Body heat.
The body heat or the body temperature. So even though the shark is in this extremely cold ocean water, these internal structures function to keep the shark warm. Boys and girls, today we're going to be writing an informational response, and we need to remember to include text evidence. Who could read for me the EQ? All right, Kayla, nice and loud.
How do I write an informational response and include evidence from the test?
Very good. Let's read our task, what they expect us to do. Who could read that for me? McKenna.
Write an informational text answering how do white sharks use their internal and external structures to thrive in their environment.
Very good. So we are going to be referring back to what text?
Neighborhood sharks.
Neighborhood sharks. We are going to be looking at what type of predators?
Shark.
White sharks.
What was our vocabulary word?
Apex
predators. We're going to be referring back to these apex predators, and we've got to write an informational response including their internal and external structures and how those structures allow them to thrive in their environment. I've noticed students are more engaged as we are doing these learning tasks, especially when it comes to a writing task, because we've built the prior knowledge through the shared reading or independent reading or collaborative reading, and then they feel more confident as I present a writing task to them to develop their writing. So I've noticed it's really expanded their writing abilities. It's expanded their vocabulary usage. They're repeating the words that we are learning in context. They're using them as they speak to each other. Our focus as we read is how do animal structures and senses promote the survival? How do those structures and senses lead to the animal's survival? So as we read today, you're going to be listening and looking for that. We're also going to be looking to identify what type of nouns?
Possessive noun.
What is the purpose for using possessive nouns in context in our writing? Why did we use one today in our writing? Who can tell me the purpose? What do possessive nouns do in our writing, Lucy?
The possessive noun shows like there are many teeth for the white shark's teeth.
Okay, that they belong to the white shark.
You have that you wouldn't know if it was a shark's teeth or if it wasn't, you wouldn't be for sure.
So possessive nouns show
Ownership.
Don't forget that word. They show ownership. That is why we use them in context. I would like for you to right now turn in our shared reading to page 32. As you're reading, I want you to be thinking about the animal structure that is being used. Go. What structure is being used by the bison and the deer, Abraham? Okay, they're using their mouth. And what are they using that structure to do, McKenna?
Eat snow.
Okay, to eat snow. Kara, if I wanted to write a sentence using a possessive noun about the structure that the bison or the deer uses, how could I write that sentence and how would I form my possessive noun? The bison uses its mouth to eat snow. Did I use a possessive noun there?
No.
Okay, how can we restructure her words? Carly, can you help her out?
The bison's mouth is used to eat snow.
I want you right now on your boogie board, I want you to identify, listen very carefully, don't have them out yet. Identify structure that the nestlings are using to survive in their environment. And I want you to write a sentence forming and using and following our rules for possessive nouns. So think about which rule you need to follow, okay? And don't forget to include the structure in your sentence with your possessive noun. Remember, if you're stuck, what's a strategy you should use if you're stuck?
Go back in the book.
Look back in the text. Did the author give you anything to work off of? Look back in the text. Today, when you go to stations, at your possessive noun station, at the rectangular table, you're going to review the rule. That's the first thing you're going to do with your group. Then you're going to do a quick sort match with some cards. You're going to match possessive nouns, singular and plural, with the picture that I've given you. And then after you do that, you're going to go into some books with animal images. And you're going to look at the text because you want to see, did the author give you anything to work off of? Okay? And you're going to look and see how can you form a sentence about the image using the animal structure and using singular or plural possessive nouns. Boys and girls, today we are going to read a text called "What Do You Do When Something Wants to Eat You?" As we read today, we are going to be reading about some different animals. They may be animals that you are not familiar with in any way. You're going to be looking for what structures the animals are using, and you're also going to be looking closely at the illustrations. The illustrations in this text really add to the meaning of the author's words. So they're going to help create a deeper understanding for you as a reader. You all will be reading silently, and I'll come to you each individually and we'll talk and discuss the text. You have notes in front of you. If you need to make a note about how one of the illustrations helped you understand or comprehend what you have read, then please feel free to make a note. And then when we come back whole group and discuss, you can refer back to your notes to add to our discussion. How did this visual image really enhance the defense mechanism of the octopus for you, Arcayla?
The black ink.
Okay. Who can add to that? What did the black ink do for you as a reader, looking at the words in the text and decoding their meaning and then looking at the illustration? What did the black ink?
Like a cloud, like you said in the text.
Okay, it looked like a what type of cloud did they describe it as?
A thick cloud.
It looked like a thick cloud. And how did that help you understand its defense mechanism, Abraham? How did the words thick cloud and then the author's illustration help you to understand the octopus's defense mechanism?
The attacker couldn't see it
because can you see the attacker? So, boys and girls, you're going to apply this skill today. And what you're going to do is you're going to make a 3-door flip book.
Oh, I thought that was over there.
You're going to make a 3-door flip book, and on the outside of your flip book, you're going to draw the animal and the defense structure, internal or external. I want you to be sure and label that is being used. And on the inside of your flip book, you are going to explain in a complete sentence what structure the animal is using to defend itself from its predator. Okay, boys and girls, you had the opportunity to work in stations today on using singular and plural possessive nouns in context, identifying animal structures. I want you to turn and talk to your learning partner, and I want you to share an example that you came up with today, a sentence example. Go.
So, like for plural possessive, I said words.
You've got one.
Yeah, but it isn't.
Share your example. Share your example.
This I said the Jesus prior. I got fish, fried,
I've heard some very good conversation. Does anyone have an example of a singular or plural possessive noun that they used in context? Oh, Belle, what would you like to share?
The gorilla's teeth are used for fighting.
The gorilla's teeth. I'm going to write your example.
As a result of implementing the unit starters, we've seen some incredible changes in instructional practices. Teachers are now integrating the standards and bringing in more content area knowledge, so students are building knowledge about the world. Also with instruction, we've seen that students are doing more of the heavy cognitive lifting. For example, students are now provided more time to read text, they are given more time to discuss text, and they're also given more time to write about the text to demonstrate their learning.